Welcome to PSL Living. I'm Sarah Prohaska, Communications Manager here at the City of Port St. Lucie. We are on location right now in the Southern Grove section of the city where an esteemed panel of land planning experts is here visiting us from the Urban Land Institute, and they're analyzing Southern Grove to help us figure out what the future of this land holds. And I'm really pleased to welcome John Walsh today with us. He's the chairman of this panel, and he is with TIG Real Estate Services, and he is here to tell us about what this panel hopes to accomplish here in Port St. Lucie. So thank you, John, for coming. We really appreciate it.
You bet. We're glad to be here.
All right. So you are a volunteer on this panel, correct?
That's correct. We have volunteers. The Panel Advisory Services program is designed to bring in experts in their field that are all volunteers. We have a couple of staff people here that are helping us and serving us, but this is really a volunteer report that is the Urban Land Institute.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Urban Land Institute, just some of the background of what it does, what its mission is?
Yes, I'd love to. The Urban Land Institute is a research and education institute. We provide expertise, we share great ideas, we share the ones that didn't work. We try to make our industry better. It is an organization that's 80 plus years old, and there have been 65 years of these advisory panels because that's a good way for us to take what we've learned together and apply it to the real world in communities that we can go out and help. With the hope that someone will come do the same thing in my community.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, helping out. So the Urban Land Institute was actually in Port St. Lucie, I think in 2004. Am I correct?
That's correct. We did a similar panel study in 2004. A different perspective. It was really looking at 26,000 acres. We're really narrowing our effort to this portion of the Southern Grove that is part of the expansion area, but the part that the city, through one of its agencies, controls.
Yes, exactly. So can you tell us about some of the goals of this? What do you hope to accomplish by the end of this? You're here for a week.
Well, we're here, we start on Sunday, and it's a very interesting process. We start on Sunday. We meet each other for the first time as a group.
Oh, wow.
Now, there are several of the panelists that I've been on panels with or that I know through other opportunities or through ULI. We meet twice a year, so I see a lot of people during those meetings. Yeah. And we have pulled them together on Sunday afternoon. We talk about the issue. About 3 weeks ago, we received a very high quality, I've been on 14 of these panels, and so I can tell you that in my experience, this is one of the better packages that we received, expressing the data points that we need to look at and asking the questions that your city would like us to help resolve or to improve on their own thought process. And in some cases, we will be confirming some of the things that the city has already considered and would like to move forward on.
All right. You're basically looking at this, it's about 1,200 acres, maybe a little more, a little bit less here in this section of Tradition, which we call our Future Jobs Corridor. So can you tell us some of the things you're looking at for this region?
We are looking at the jobs, and one of the things that I think everybody realizes that lives here or lives nearby is that a significant portion, over 50% of your community, is not here right now during this interview because they are working in a different location and mostly outside of this county. And so our hope is to be able to analyze that, understand that, find the kinds of product that produce jobs. And many of us have different backgrounds, but we each have a consistent ability to look at what the need is and try to solve for the X that solves that need. And in this case, the primary goal that we've been given by the community is to look at how do you create jobs so that gas money that's going to waste on the highway, that traffic time that's spent on the highway, that time away from my children, that time away from my family is reduced, and gives you as a city the opportunity to not only capture the value of having people that work closer to home,
Yeah.
but also the lifestyle concepts that go with that. And because if people are here all day, then there's going to be a need for more amenities. So we're looking at all those different aspects to make sure that it all ties together.
Yeah, so you're looking kind of at not just jobs, but entertainment, dining, everything that makes quality of life, really. Right?
Everything.
Okay.
I mean, literally everything.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
As someone who used to commute out of the county and now works very close to my job, I could tell you that is huge for a lot of people in this city. So I'm sure we're very looking forward to seeing what your group comes up with on that one.
We've learned you're one of the lucky few.
Yes,
there are more
I am.
that can't
Yes.
work close to home than can, based on the availability of jobs here in this part of the I-95 corridor.
Yeah.
And so we're studying that. We all have some experience in that. My role as a developer has been to work with several cities, similar size, some smaller, some larger, some moving toward larger, like you are. They're not there yet.
Yeah.
And so we know a little bit about it, but we're learning too. I mean, it's we've interviewed. I think we interviewed 150 people on Tuesday, got their insights. We're not necessarily trying to create a new wheel. We're trying to understand what guides the wheel that's already here, to learn from your community, to learn from your stakeholders in the community. We have basically considered the data, the personalities, the emotions, the relationships, and are not going to have a final, you just go out and do this, but we're going to have a lot of ideas that should provide the impetus to move forward with a program over the next many years.
I was going to say, do we have a time frame?
Many
No,
years.
This takes time.
It's not a 2-year solve.
No.
I know some of your city council would like to have it to be it's not a 2-year
And some
solve.
of our residents, I'm sure, would like to see this happen overnight.
I'm sure
but
everybody
yes.
would. But, you know, it just isn't going to happen that way. It is a process, and our goal is to create a guide or a plan for that to move forward, knowing that things change.
Yeah.
And you know, right now, one of the things we've been talking about today is this concept of technology and its impact, and nobody knows. I mean, you know, we just don't know. You turned your phone off a few minutes ago.
Exactly.
10 years ago, nobody had a smartphone.
No.
Yeah.
So and that's a big factor in just the job market, but in people's lives in general. So.
And it's impacting land use all over the world. So it's not unique to
here,
Port St. Lucie.
here.
It is everywhere. We're dealing with it rural, urban, suburban, exurban, wherever we go, we're dealing with the impacts of technology and the impacts of more shared economy.
About 14 years ago, a study was done of this area. Why is it, but it was a larger look, but why is it important to look at this again with fresh eyes 14 years later? Like you said, things change so rapidly. What are some of the reasons why it's good to go back and do this again?
Well, we think a lot of the things that were proposed in that 2004 study were adopted, and then I don't know if you're aware of it, but in 2007 and 8, something weird happened to the world, and we had what was called the Great Recession.
The Great Recession,
and
hit
so
us hard here.
that changed the dynamics for many communities, and here especially because you had investors in this community that were relying on a marketplace that was consistent and growing. And in those years, Port St. Lucie were you the fastest growing, if not the fastest, you were in the top 3 or 4 in the United States. That's a major accomplishment. And yet today, we're looking at growth that is certainly better than it was in 2009, 10, and 11, but it's still happening, and because of that, this is not a unique situation. Many properties throughout the country in communities like this that were growing and expanding were hit hard. And so in this case, the hardest hit was the fact that your developers basically gave up. And whether it was their fault or somebody else's fault, that we're not here to figure that out. We are here to solve, to move forward, so that the problem becomes an opportunity, and we think it is an opportunity.
Yeah, it is. And just people who lived here during that time and who are now here, this area in particular was growing really fast. Then it pretty much stopped for several years. But it's exciting to us to see what's happening out here now, because it's hot again, it's busy again, it's vibrant again. So we're very excited to see that happening, and it's good to have this level of expertise come in and help guide that.
Yeah, and this expertise, you speak of the expertise, I have to tell you, we come together in each of these panels and we meet each other, and I'm always amazed when I look around there and I go, wow, how do we get that person? Or I've heard about their expertise. Yeah. And this is a group that, as a group, you could not hire this group. It is something that ULI provides to its to the world, and we do this all over the world. Yeah. But it provides an opportunity for us to learn from each other, to give back to our community. But you can't buy that. It's the MasterCard commercial. It's priceless, because we won't come together as a team and charge somebody to provide our expertise. We do it because we love the concept. We need to give back. We owe to this world because it's given much to us. Yeah, all right. And how many people are on this panel, and where they came from all over the country, right? Well, we have seven volunteers. Okay. And one of our panel members is a staff member at ULI who is engaged in this particular aspect, the panel advisory services area of ULI. And we have representatives from Colorado, Washington, Texas, Maryland, DC, Boston, and if I left somebody else, I apologize. That's all right. That's a good. But this is truly east to west. Yes. One of the things we're real careful about is we don't want anybody on the panel that would have a conflict of interest. We don't come back. As much as we've learned, it would be great to come back and take all that information and say, hey, I could come in here and take advantage. Yeah. We agreed not to. But you won't see me doing anything in this part of the state related to this study for at least a year and probably longer, because we really do recognize independence, our ability to look at things without an interest that would be conflicting. Yeah. And we interview people, and it's fun to interview, but we also see that people have their own take depending upon their relationship. So we can neutralize particular biases, we think, and we try, and we come back with, this is real. Some of the news I've given news to communities that, they're just going, well, we knew that, but we sure didn't want to hear it. Yeah. I don't expect that to be the case here. Right. But we'll have some advices that'll change the way some people think about what they do, their job, this land, this community. But it's intended to be a help, not a hurt. Perfect. Yeah. All right, great. So you talked about this area, just personally from you, what are some of your impressions of this area, Southern Grove, that you're looking at? Well, I've learned a whole lot. Again, I came in unbiased because most of my time in Florida has been spent in the Panhandle, Miami, real South Florida, the Keys, are on the West Coast. And so this is not the first time I've been in this area, but it's the first time I've engaged in this area and actually met people, talked to people, learned about how the system works. A couple of things that strike me is that your state government is a bit like the ones I'm used to. Okay. But there are some complexities to it that we're having to work through. Okay. The other is this concept of economic development is a little bit different than most of us are used to in our own communities. It's a little bit more controlled. It's a little. It really is. It is. There's some real positives to it. The regulatory control has some positives, but we're having to work through some of the things that we just say, do it this way, and they can't because it's not possible. One of the challenges, every one of our meetings with City Council has been a published, announced, open meeting. And so we've invited in each meeting, and we will on Friday, invite people from the community to speak if they wish to speak. Yeah. It will be a different format, but I think it will be much like a city council meeting or a planning and zoning meeting. It'll be, it's a public meeting.
Yeah.
And so we expect that. We hope it would be. In many communities, it's our meeting, our presentation, which, by the way, for you guys will have already seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do present, and sometimes I've had one where the only people that were there were the 10 people that were on the board of the sponsor, because they wanted it to be a trade secret.
Yeah.
That didn't feel good, but it certainly was what we were asked to do, and we did it. But this case, this is refreshing. I expect that we're talking about a big crowd I saw when we did have our meeting.
Everything is open here. Everything is as transparent as we can make it. So.
As it is in every state,
Yeah.
but in the past we haven't really had a city sponsor like we have here, so I haven't ever had to deal with it. Others on our committee have, but I haven't.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I won't take up any more of your time because I know you have a packed week.
I'm going back to work.
Yeah, you have to get back.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
We have been writing and working on this project since last night. After we finished our interviews, had a real nice dinner. That was nice.
Good.
We've been working and writing. We'll continue to work and write through tomorrow night. And that is these folks that have come in and volunteered knew ahead of time, but I don't think any of us when we get here ever think about how much work it really is to accomplish in 5 days. It really is. We're finished on Friday, so it's 5 days, not a week.
Yeah.
And on Friday we finish, and it's a complete report.
That's great.
That's what we try to do. Thank you.
We're very much looking forward to reading your report, and just so residents know, it'll be on our website, www.cityofpsl.com. Whenever it's made public, we'll push it out there so they can see this product of your week of intensive work here in Port St. Lucie.
There are two phases to that. We'll have an oral presentation, a video, PowerPoint.
To the council.
PowerPoint format, but that kind. No, to the whole city.
To the whole city.
Yes. It's at City Hall. Yeah. But after that, if you guys videotape it, I assume that it would be on your site.
It will be. Yeah.
And then we will follow up in 6 to 8 weeks with a written, more detailed, more backup with the data points shown as opposed to talked about. So that will be, and that's what I think you would find
we'll look for.
Your community to be most interested in, because it will provide a guideline and an understanding that we won't be able to do in an hour session on Friday.
Yeah. All right. Well, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you. And we'll be right back after these messages.